National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola announcing a dedicated task team for Gauteng, which has numerous unsolved political killings and taxi-related murders. Let's unpack this story with the former Western Cape Police Commissioner, Dr. Lennit Max. It's great to have you on. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. I want to begin, before we get to the issue of Gauteng getting its own dedicated task team, the issue of these dockets, these 121 dockets, which Fani Masemola says have been traced back to Gauteng. What do you make of the way he phrased that? Would there not have been a keen eye on the preservation of that kind of evidence? Why did it need to be traced to the province?
Yeah, it depends what they had in mind when they actually mentioned it. What I know for a fact is that, and what was admitted by Deputy Sabia, is that the 121 dockets is now found at the head office. Mm-hmm. So I don't know whether he mean that it has been traced back, but it was found there. So somebody actually removed it from the special task team in KwaZulu-Natal and placed it at the head office. And according to him, their dockets is going to be copied and then sent back to the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner.
I mean, there must surely be some concern about whether these dockets would have been tampered with.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But the only people who will actually be in a position to determine that is the investigators of the political task team, who actually dealt with the dockets before. And obviously, when they received it back, they will actually then determine whether there was any interference or removal of any evidence or affidavits.
It does, one does get the sense that there is a backtracking of decisions that have been made. I mean, clearly there is a backtracking of decisions that have been made, but only because there's been this focus by journalists and other concerned organizations about the way the political killings task team was indeed disbanded, and the inner workings now of the SAPS, particularly in light of what the KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi had to say in that bombshell media briefing.
At the center, yes, at the center of this whole saga is the letter of the suspended or minister who's on special leave at the moment, who actually instructed the dissolvement of this particular task team. And without any reason why, it is not clear whether he was briefed by anyone about the effectiveness of this task team and then decided. But on the other hand, it is if he had that information, the president, the reason for the establishment of this unit was that the president deemed it necessary and very important to establish interministerial task team who must oversee this particular political task team operations and the successes, and whatever they need, if there's any problem which needs the attention of the president, they have to convey that to the president. So this whole saga is as a result of this particular letter of the minister. And now there's conflict between the commanders, the National Commissioner and his deputy, as well as the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah, and I mean, yesterday when Fani Masemola was speaking on the issue of the return of these dockets, he was asked if the decision to return the dockets was in fact an admission that they had been unlawfully removed, but he would not answer that question. So this is interesting, all of these developments, Dr. Max, you'll agree, and it puts us in a not flattering light, particularly as this Interpol conference is underway in Cape Town. I mean, we're looking at policing strategies, and in the context of that, all of this is unfolding in the SAPS. As a start, when the conference opened on Wednesday, we had an acting minister, as we know, opening the conference because our police minister is on special leave.
Yes, of course. You know, the Mkhwanazi press conference was a total embarrassment for government and a national embarrassment, as well as, I think, international embarrassment. And we want the South African Police Service to be effective and execute their mandate without political interference. But as I earlier stated, I welcome this particular commission of inquiry. And I hope the commission of inquiry will provide a clear interpretation on the powers of a minister in terms of Section 206 of the Constitution, which indicates that a minister must lead the police by policy, and Section 207 of the Constitution mandated the president to appoint a man or a woman to manage the police, South African Police Service, its operations and internal affairs. So there might be a misunderstanding by the various ministers about the limitations and their powers in terms of oversight and operations of the South African Police Service. And that needs to be addressed to have clarity so that your commanders in the South African Police Service know exactly what their responsibilities are, as well as the minister who knows his or her limitations in this regard.
Yeah, certainly.
The fact is that this whole saga, the trust in the police was in 2021 at a low of 27%. In last year, the same institution, Human Rights Science Research Council, indicated that the deficit of trust is at a low of 22%. So it's 5% down. And that was before this press conference of General Mkhwanazi. So you can expect that it might be lower at this point in time. And we cannot afford it. We need to trust the police. The police needs to be in a position to do their job in terms of their mandated constitutional responsibilities. And I would love to see that the National Commissioner is a bit, for me, not, it seems to me, don't have a strong backbone to do things as he is supposed to do. And to answer those questions which he refused to answer. And that creates doubt about his ability to be a strong leader, transparent and accountable to the people of South Africa.
Well, certainly. And that trust deficit you talk about is probably applicable to the criminal justice system on the whole, isn't it? I mean, the decision now to give Gauteng its own political killings task team, particularly related to taxi violence and a whole range of other political killings as well. You started off your answer by saying Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's press briefing was an embarrassment for the country, but it was a necessary embarrassment, clearly.
Yes, of course, I agree. We needed to know about what is going on. Otherwise, if he didn't come out publicly as he did, maybe these things would have been covered under the carpets, But I must say that I welcome any special task team to investigate certain crimes. But we cannot establish task teams and don't resource them, like the anti-gang unit in the country. They are chronically under-resourced, and you expect of them to do their job. And once you create such task teams, then it creates expectations from the public that the police will be doing now the right thing and they will deliver. And if resources manage and hamper them in the execution of their duties, then that is not good, and that contributes to the deficit of trust between the police and the communities. We cannot afford it. The South African Police Service must not be used as a political play ball. The South African Police Service is a proud police service with members very committed, although we are on a daily basis, read about the corruption in the police. But I believe, as a former police commissioner and holding the ceremonial rank of Lieutenant General, that I've got hope that South African Police Service can be corrected. We need the overall leadership. We need a strong political commitment of transparency and accountability to ensure that the police are doing their job. We must understand our people, although the trust deficit is very bad, that each and every of our people, when there's problems, they run to the police, irrespective of the complaints of the police, with the hope that the police will protect their constitutional rights. And we must understand that the police of African Police Service is the primary entry point to the criminal justice system. And they need to do what is expected of them to do. And anyone who interfere with that particular constitutional mandate of the police, either internally or externally, should be dealt with effectively and get rid of that particular individual. We need the police to be professional, effective, and respect the rights of our people in South Africa.
I mean, the fact that you're saying the police are the primary entry point to the criminal justice system in South Africa does put it into perspective, right? But the issues you talk about in terms of establishing commissions of inquiry but not resourcing them properly, capacitating them properly, it also speaks to, you know, the inefficiencies in the police. Under-resourced is the buzzword for those inefficiencies. We've got a dearth of 2,000 detectives posts that are sitting vacant. Our police to persons in the borders of the country, that ratio is 1 to many hundreds of people, even worse in some areas. So under-resourced is probably one of the big words we think about when we think about the SABS.
Yes, of course. You know, there's the one side is the resource shortage, and that is terrible. That is in the hands of the South African government to resource the police service, and that will indicate whether government plays a priority on people's life in this country with regards to the resourcing of the police. You must understand that the Constitutional Court in the state versus Mkhwanazi, it was about the death penalty. The court states there that the right to life and the right to dignity supersedes all other rights and cannot be limited by Section 36 of the Constitution. In other words, it is supreme. It is, you know, you cannot eliminate it, that particular two rights. Now, the government must understand that the rationale for that decision was that if you are not alive, you cannot enjoy the other rights as enshrined in the Constitution. So, and therefore, I appeal to government to make sure that we really ASAP, with speed, overall the South African Police Service and implement the recommendations of the National Development Plan 2030. You know, that plan was put together by experienced people, and it was then introduced to the public that this plan will be implemented. That plan got very, very good recommendations, but it seems to me no one, those who are occupied with the authority, got any appetite to implement those recommendations, because those recommendations, they are very high. It's a high level. And I think half of the police service will be gone if they implement it, but it needs to be done. The other thing is, you know, the problem which you got is that the police regulations, Section 47 of the police regulations, that empower the National Minister of Police to interfere with promotion from the rank of Major General to Lieutenant General. And, you know, and once people are in those positions, senior ranks, they try to have a good relationship with the minister, because the minister is the one who's going to block that appointment or to approve that particular appointment. So, and that cause problems between the National Commissioner as well as those under his command, because they are more loyal to the minister, because the minister will determine promotions and not the National Commissioner. And that needs to be removed from our regulations. And I hope that the Portfolio Committee in Parliament will take a stance and demand the removal of that, because you cannot have a minister who appoints the senior people to assist the National Commissioner, and you hold the National Commissioner accountable for services to be rendered, but he or she doesn't have a choice who to appoint people according merit and qualifications.
So many gaps in the way that the system runs. The former Western Cape Police Commissioner, Dr. Lennit, thanks very much for your time